Hey, what's up, world? This is August C. Jones here with another edition of the Take One podcast. This is episode 70, and I did put this out a little bit late. Like I mentioned in prior podcasts, that I had gotten into an accident before, so all this week I really been in pain to where it's like all I can do is just like lay down. So yeah, I had all my notes and everything ready, but it was just I couldn't work on the stuff now, and I'm feeling a little bit better, so I just decided to go ahead and put this out before it got any further in the week. Plus, I need to do my box office predictions and everything else, and that requires my podcast to be dropped at the beginning of the week, or at least before Friday. So here I am. So this podcast, we're going to talk about a few things, and usually how I do these, where I'm talking about the box office segment, I usually do the box office segment last. This one, I'm going to do it first because basically what the primary topic of this podcast is have to do with the box office. So just getting right into it, the box office segment. So let's run down the movies that topped over. Well, that basically topped the top 5 over this weekend and whatnot. So basically, just going into my predictions that I had last week. I predicted that Avengers was going to be number 1, of course. Breaking In was going to be number 2. Life of the Party number 3. A Quiet Place number 4. And Overboard number 5. So let's just see how I did, whatever. So we have at number 1, Avengers Infinity War, with The Weeknd taking in 61 million, which brings his domestic total to 547 million, which brings his worldwide total to still 1.6 billion dollars. Only $1.6 billion. And then we got coming in at number 2, which is Life of the Party, which over the weekend did 18 million, which brings his world gross to 21 million. Breaking In came in at number 3. Weekend doing 16 million, which brings his world to 17 million. Overboard came in over the weekend at 10 million, which brings his domestic to 29 million. A Quiet Place finished off at number 5 with 6 million over the weekend, which brings his domestic total to 169 million and his world total to 269 million. And yeah, so I was kind of off. I thought Breaking In was going to do better than Life of the Party, but Life of the Party ended up, I guess because you have Melissa McCarthy. And I mean, you have Gabrielle Union up in there, but really she's not like a big name. I mean, she is a big name. She is well known. But as far as like movies and, just having relevancy throughout like just films now, Melissa McCarthy take the cake. So it's just I figured that more people would want to go see Breaking In rather than Life of the Party, but I guess that's not the case. And then Overboard I thought was gonna shoot down to number 5, and The Quiet Place is gonna jump back up to number 4, but nah. So I was slightly off. I had the top 5 correct. I just had basically everything after number 2 in the wrong order. So basically number 2 and number 3 should have been switched, and number 4 and number 5 should have been switched. So I wasn't completely off, but hey, I mean, it's whatever. One of the things that stood out to me, really nothing stood out to me. But the only thing that I wanted to talk about when it comes to the box office is just Avengers Infinity War. Now, over the weekend, Avengers Infinity War opened over there in China, and that's one of the biggest markets for a lot of films. Like a lot of times, if a movie doesn't do real good domestically, the international box office ends up basically balancing out what it needs to do. So you'll have a lot of movies that may have like $100 million budget, and they bring in like 40 something million the first weekend. So that it's not going to really do too much or whatever going on in the further, as the coming weekends go. But then the international box office may end up doing like over 100 million or 60 something or more million or whatever, which puts that at like basically breaking even, them making their money back and a little bit over then some. So, China is a big significant thing. One of the things that do stand out to me about it is that Avengers Infinity War is more popular overseas in China than Star Wars. Star Wars, you would think, would be more popular, as far as like the movies and just the media. You would figure it'd be more popular, but that's not the case, as we've seen with The Last Jedi. And it really didn't do that good over there in China. It really didn't like boost it up as far as sales or whatever when it came out, and putting it like, it still made it up there in the billions or whatever, but it didn't push it further than what a lot of what Ryan Johnson and a lot of people might have wanted it to do, even though it wasn't favorable. But Marvel is kicking ass. It did good with Age of Ultron, and I believe Civil War did good over there, or the first Avengers, something like that. But yeah, it did good. 200 million, and which is the highest grossing movie to ever hit in China as of right now. So it set a new record. So basically Avengers is constantly breaking new records, and that's the records. And it's basically 13 million, basically surpassing Monster Hunter, which is a movie I believe in China, whatever, and it surpassed it by 13 million. So really not that much, but still, it's the newest highest grossing movie in China, which basically, as of right now, it is the kind of like one of the, I guess you could say, fastest highest grossing movie ever, as far as worldwide with the box office and everything else, which is hell of a feat. So, and it's just after 3 weeks. It's already in the top 5. Just after 3 weeks. That's crazy. It already reached $1 billion in a little bit over a week. So, it's going to get up there. It's going to get to the $2 billion club. Trust me. At this point, I don't know if it will be Avatar. I think it may. But the only thing that's stopping it is this weekend, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. We got Deadpool coming out. And then we have Solo coming out after that, which basically just blew my mind as it outsold in pre-sale tickets over Black Panther. So I thought all the stuff that was going behind the scenes was going to tear it down, but obviously not. But you got those two movies, and I believe it's a few other movies coming out after that. So every weekend you're going to have these big, high-end, high-level movies coming out that's going to take away the money that, Infinity War could be making. Now, Infinity War did have the weekend before as well as the couple of weekends after. And so it had time to thrive and people to go see it multiple times and all this stuff, and it was making the money that it's made. But more than likely it's going to slow down, especially with a beloved character now like Deadpool. A lot of people are going to be trying to go see that, I being one of them. But yeah, I mean, it seems like it's going to probably start slowing down after this. Basically by this, going into this weekend, it's going to start to slow down. But yeah, it's in the top 5 right now, coming in number 5. And what's crazy is that it knocked off the first Avengers movie. So, I mean, what other way to do it, It's like you're outdoing yourself, You didn't do it with Age of Ultron, but now you're doing it with Infinity War. So, hey, I mean, I wouldn't say you can call it poetic justice. I guess that's the wrong word to use, but it's poetic in a sense or whatever. But basically, it's right behind Jurassic World, which did 1.6 million, but 1.67 billion or whatever is what I meant. And then Star Wars right ahead of it. Well, Star Wars: The Force Awakens doing 2 billion, and then Titanic doing 2.1 billion, and then Avatar at the top, holding its crown, at least for right now, with 2.7 billion. So, I mean, Avengers have a long way to go. And I think the Deadpool and Solo, all these movies are going to kind of slow down this momentum. But I believe by the end of its run, it probably may catch up to Titanic. I don't know. It probably might. Hey, it's whatever. But, I mean, I found it really good. So I'm definitely going to go see it again. I've already seen it 7 times. Even people are like, why are you seeing it so many times? I love the movie. I just like it. And then I like going to the movies. It's something. it's like it's something warm and it gets me tingly inside. I know that's kind of weird, but in any case, but yeah, that's the only really the big thing that stood out to me as far as the box office goes. Now let's get into what's coming out this weekend. There are 3 movies coming out this weekend. One of them is one of the biggest, names out of all the 3, which is Deadpool 2. The sequel to Deadpool, of course, and that's coming out, and it's just basically it's a loony. Like, if you've heard the synopsis for the movie, it's about, you already know what it's about. It's basically Wade Wilson, or Deadpool. He has to bring a team together to protect this mutant from being, I guess, killed by Cable, a time traveling mutant or whatever. But they have another synopsis saying that he's a inspiring, cafeteria chef who has dreams of being the hottest bartender. And it's like, what? It's like every time I think about that, it makes me laugh. But hey, it's Deadpool. What do you expect? And then we have another movie called Book Club, which is about these 4 older women's lives, senior citizens basically, whose lives changed after reading 50 Shades of Grey. And so they start making weird and bold choices in their lives and stuff because of that. So they're heavily influenced by the book. I really ain't a big fan. I don't read books like that. I don't read books. And I didn't really care for the movie, so it's just whatever. And then the last movie that's coming out this weekend is called Show Dogs, a movie that my son told me that he wants to see, which that's one of those movies. I love taking my son to the show. I love taking him to see movies and stuff. But this is one movie where I was like, I wasn't going to say anything about it. I was just going to let it go and this and that. But he came to me, the commercial was on. He's like, Dad, I want to see that movie. And I'm like, okay, I guess we can go see that movie. But yeah, it's just basically about a dog named Max who failed to rescue this baby panda, and so he has to team up with this guy Frank, played by Will Arnett, and they have to go undercover at this dog show to unravel this smuggling thing, the smuggling ring of valuable dogs or whatnot. I don't know. It seems stupid. It really seemed. It seemed like a kids movie. It really is a kids movie. It's like Boss Baby. You have to not go in there expecting realism. You go in there expecting just what you would expect if you watch SpongeBob. Just you throw all logic out the window and just accept it for what it is. And by then you won't be disappointed, but if you're an adult, more than likely you're going to be disappointed. But in any case, I might be surprised. But out of those movies, so I got my predictions written down. My predictions for this weekend is basically Deadpool 2 is going to be at number 1. I'm sorry, Avengers Infinity War, they had the crown for a few weeks and broke all types of records, but I believe that Deadpool 2 is going to take the number 1 spot from this weekend. So, and just, I know this ain't spoilers or whatever, but just because of how people felt about Avengers, I know that they're going to want to be seeing something totally different as far as a superhero movie. So I feel like a lot of people are going to be trying to go see this because they loved Avengers, but the tone, I can't really say too much because I don't like to spoil it. If you want to hear my analysis, you go and, watch the movie, look at my review, my non-spoiler, and check out my spoiler review also. It's out on my channel, so go ahead and look that up. But, yeah, I think people want to change the pace from Avengers Infinity War going into this. So, I think a lot of people are going to want to see this because of that or whatever. But yeah, Deadpool 2 is going to take the number 1 spot. You got Avengers Infinity War is going to take the number 2 spot. Number 3 is going to be Life of the Party. Number 4 is going to be Book Club. And number 5 is going to be Breaking In. I don't think that Show Dogs is going to be in the top 5. I could be totally wrong, but it just doesn't seem like that movie is going to be that good to where it is. Now, I may be mistaken because a lot of kids, probably like my son, probably went to their parents like, I want to see that movie. I want to see Show Dogs and blah, blah, blah. So it's just whatever. But I don't think it's going to make it in the top 5. And so those are my predictions. Deadpool number 1, Avengers Infinity War number 2, Life of the Party number 3, Book Club number 4, and number 5 will be Breaking In. So that will be rounding off my predictions. So let's go ahead and get into the next segment, which is trailer reviews. Now, one of the trailers that dropped last week, I believe, it was the new trailer, well, the first trailer, I guess you could say kind of teaser trailer, for The Predator, which is the latest Predator movie within the franchise of Predators or whatever, within the Predator franchise. And I don't really have too many thoughts on it. I mean, I am astounded. I mean, I'm not like a big fan of the Predator franchise or anything like that. I've seen all of them, I believe. Yeah, I've seen the first one. I've seen the second one. The third one, I think the third one is Predators, when they went on the planet. So yeah, and that was part of the franchise. That wasn't a remake or anything. And then you got this one. I'm not counting Alien versus Predator, because those are just like Elseworlds type movies where they're not connected to the Alien franchise, nor are they connected to the Predator franchise. They were just their own two movies in their own universe or whatever. But I mean, I've seen those too. But all the Predator movies I have seen. But I mean, this trailer, it was a teaser, you know? I really didn't think anything about it. It looked cool, you know? It didn't blow my mind. It didn't get me like, oh my God, this looks so crazy. It was just like, okay, I mean, I don't know, like, I will have to see a full-fledged trailer that show a little bit of the story of what it really is about or whatever. But I wasn't too astounded by it. It was just there, you know. I was just like, okay, yeah, and that was basically it. It wasn't anything that blew my mind. It wasn't anything that I can sit there and, you know, brag like, oh my God, have y'all seen not the Punisher? Wow, totally different, you know, movie. But have y'all seen the Predator trailer and this and that? It wasn't astounding. It just wasn't nothing that shocked and awed me, you know. I don't know how the movie could be phenomenal. The movie could be phenomenal. It could be probably part of my top 10 best movies of this year. It probably could be in the top 5 and how good it is. But I don't know. The trailer didn't get me. The teaser didn't get me or whatever. Let's just put it like that. The teaser trailer didn't get me. But I'm waiting till the first official full-length trailer to see if it's going to grab me. But from this trailer, it was just, it's just whatever. It was one of those movies where, like, I'm going to go see it, but it's like, it wasn't nothing where I'm like, oh my God, I'm really anticipating this movie, and just, I don't care right now. But anyway, that's really all I got to say about that. So, moving on to movie news. So, what came out recently was that there are movies that are set to come out that are being written up, you know, idealized in, you know, the writer's room or whatever, but they did come out and say that there was a few films that were going to come out in like the next few years. So first off, we're going to have a new Sherlock Holmes 3. Well, a new Sherlock Holmes movie, Sherlock Holmes 3. It's not given a subtitle or anything like that, but it has been said that Robert Downey Jr. is coming back. And as far as, what's his name? Jude Law, they don't know, it's not quite put down whether he's going to come back and reprise his role, but yeah, they did say that it was gonna basically be a part 3 coming out in 2020, December 25th to be exact, and they don't know if Guy Ritchie is supposed to be coming back. So, and he was the person that I believe directed the first 2 Sherlock Holmes movies. So, I mean, whether he come back or not, I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference because of the simple fact that, I mean, if you get another director on there, hey, I mean, if that director ends up making a great film, then I don't think anybody's going to care. I think a lot of people want him to come back, but if he doesn't, I don't think it really going to matter, especially if you get a great director to bring this to life and it ends up being better than both the other two movies combined. Yeah, I don't think people will have any problem with that. But, I mean, I never really been a fan of the Sherlock Holmes movies. I've seen the first one. I didn't see the second one. Well, I seen the second one, but it was like, I think I saw like parts of it, but I didn't actually sit down and watch it. You know, it was just like that. I will have to watch it or whatever in its entirety or whatever. But I mean, this is a movie that a lot of people have been waiting for. A lot of people wasn't fond of the second one, but they wanted a third one. So here you go. December 2020 is when this movie is suspected to be made. So they're more than likely going to go into production sometime soon. Probably like next year or something like that. More than likely they're writing it and trying to develop a story and everything. The other movie that was said to come out is also going to come in 2020, which is a crazy amount of years later. Not like freaking. Would it be like Avatar? I don't know. When was the last Bad Boys movie? But anyway, so we heard some years ago, about a couple years ago, Bad Boys 3 was on the table, and they said it was going to make a fourth one as well. And the third one was going to be called Bad Boys for Life, and Martin and Will was going to come back, and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly we didn't hear anything else, and, you know, it wasn't on the table no more. Now they say that it's for sure going to come out in 2020, January 17th to be exact. And I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I like the first two. I know a lot of people didn't like the second Bad Boys movie. I like the first two. If they come out with this, I don't really care. You know, I'm not clamoring for a third Bad Boys movie. Maybe some years back after the second one. If they would have like, okay, 2 years, like in the next 2 years, we're going to come out with Bad Boys 3. I would have been like, okay, cool. But it's like, you know, at this point, it's like, if you come out with it, cool, I'll go see it. If you don't, then of course I won't see it, you know. It's just, I really don't care at this point, you know. But I will go see it when it come out. And also, what else is... Oh, yeah. And they also have the synopsis out where Marcus is a PI now, and Marcus, which is Martin Lawrence's character, and Mike Lowry, which is Will Smith's character, is going through like a midlife crisis and all that stuff. So they have like what's going on with these partners, and apparently they had a falling out to where they're not partners anymore. So that's why Marcus is a PI and everything else, and they're separate. But basically, an albino mercenary puts a hit on both of them, I guess, for basically killing his brother. And so they basically have to come back together to, you know, handle things, you know, handle shit, you know, or whatever. And so that's what brings them back together. And this movie is expected to have $100 million budget, and basically filming is supposed to begin in August, with the director being Adele E. Arby. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I'm not gonna sit here and for 5 minutes trying to pronounce it or whatever. And then the other director is Bilal Fala. I don't know. Anyway, y'all know. Just look up the names or whatever. And they say that those directors are still attached to the movie, but anything can change. You know, they can find a new director. They can have something else. So I mean, anything can change. But I mean, it seemed decent. It seemed like they have what they want, you know, to happen. You know, you got them years of being partners. Now they're separated through whatever, and then now they have to come back together, more than likely reluctantly, to team up to take down these people, this person that put a hit out on their head. So I mean, it seems pretty decent. It seems pretty decent. I want to see the first trailer. I am looking forward to it. Another movie that is said to basically come out, which they have an idea for how they're gonna do it, which I don't know. Like, when I first heard this, I'm like, yo, this seemed kind of decent, because I have something I'm doing with my YouTube channel that I have this character involved in. It's something creative, just whatever. But I mean, I'll get more into that in the future. But so, if you remember Snake Eyes from the G.I. Joe movies or whatnot, he's a ninja monk. I believe he's a monk, and he took a vow of silence, and he has a full body, you know, suit, all black full body suit on, and he has the knives, and he has the brother Storm Shadow or whatever, and he's a part of the G.I. Joes, and he just don't say anything. So they recently came out and said they're interested in making a solo Snake Eyes movie. Which, you know, when I first heard of it, I'm like, oh shit, you know, Snake Eyes is a badass. But then when you think about it, it's like, he doesn't talk. And it's like, okay, so how are they gonna do this? I mean, they're gonna have to have characters by him that can talk, but when you have the main character, the movie, who the movie is about, that don't speak, it's gonna be kind of weird, you know. So I don't know. It's gonna be kind of weird. It's tricky on how you do it. Now, there's a way to do it, but it's very tricky on how it could be done. And I just don't. If I was given the opportunity where somebody said that, like, oh, we're gonna make a Snake Eyes movie and this and that, I will be stumped. I will be like, how do I do this? I would have to have other characters, and right next to him as supporting characters that can do the talking and a whole bunch of other stuff, because I'm seriously stumped on how you can do this. I'm very stumped. So I don't know, but they basically, because they're trying to put this out, Paramount basically, and they still have in mind a G.I. Joe 3, even though the last one was a little bit made a little bit less than the first film did. They're still possibly coming out with a G.I. Joe 3, which is right now is slated for March 27, 2020, and I'm so bad with names, so I'm gonna try to say this, and I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. So, Evan Spiliotopoulos, I don't know, is expected to write the Snake Eyes film. So, I'm not too familiar with him. The name doesn't ring a bell, so hopefully he has a better idea. Because if it's just Snake Eyes, he's not going to be doing a whole bunch of dialogue. Just, maybe sign language. I don't know. Maybe, I guess. But it has no director, and there's no word on who's playing Snake Eyes for the film. Ray Park, he was the guy who portrayed Snake Eyes in the first two G.I. Joe films. So they don't know if he's coming back to reprise the role as Snake Eyes, or they're going to get anybody else, which I don't think it matters. If you get him or anybody else, he's in a full body suit. So, you're not going to see his face. You're not going to hear his voice. So when it comes down to it, it really doesn't matter. And it's just, we don't have really yet. I mean, because it's just in the beginning stage. I think they're just coming up with stories and stuff right now. It's an idea, and they don't really. It's no real word of what it's about. So I mean, it's whatever. I'll be looking forward to it. I'm very curious on how they're going to execute this. But I think they should just stick to him being a side character. Maybe make it Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. Make it about them, where Storm Shadow ends up, because I don't remember if he died up in the second one. I don't think he did. But maybe make it about both of the brothers, where they have to join together to take down a superpower. I don't know. Do something like that. But in any case, those are all the notes that I have for this episode. And so that ends this episode of the Take One Podcast, episode 70. I'd like to thank you guys for joining me. Sorry this came out a little bit late. I'm trying to drop it out. I try to put these out every Monday or whatever. That way I have it at the beginning of the week and everything. And then everything else is smooth sailing. But yeah, thank you for joining me, and I will catch you guys on the next one. So hey, before you guys leave this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and give this video a like, because it will really help me out. And hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And you see that little bell? That's the notification. Turn that on. That way you'll be notified for anything that drops on my channel. And if you look down in the description below, you will see all the links to my social media. So go ahead and follow me on those if you haven't already. As well as there are links to my other content that's on the channel, from movie reviews to podcasts to so much more. And I hope to see you guys here again next time. So thanks and peace out.